We've got two movies today. Let's talk about them. First off, let's get into Wrath of Man, because otherwise you'd probably click away as soon as I finish talking about the bigger movie. Directed by Guy Ritchie, and I just found out last minute that it's a remake of the 2004 French film called Cash Truck. Ritchie also wrote it alongside of Martin Davies and Ivan Atkinson, the team who helped him make the story for The Gentleman. It stars Jason Statham as an employee for an armored truck company who may have ulterior motives for working there, like to get revenge on the thieves who killed his son in a heist gone wrong. The previews portray this as a typical Statham action movie, and it is, but it's also a little more. It's also a Guy Ritchie crime thriller with a few elements that take influence from Tarantino. Mostly the narrative. It's told through segments preceded by title cards that often jump back in time or switch perspectives. Like the first segment, you see Statham get the job and foil a couple of robberies, but then once the next one comes maybe half an hour later, you go back and see what he's really doing there. I've decided that me casually telling you what he's doing there when I describe the plot is not a spoiler since it's in the trailers. But despite that, it's not nearly as stylized as Ritchie's previous work, or Tarantino's. It trades that upbeat, flashy stuff for gritty action. There's a lot of gunfights and violence in this. It's more John Wick than Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. It's a surprisingly complex revenge story told through the eyes of a gritty, hard R-rated action movie. And it's a pretty good one. It should satisfy anybody who wants either of those things.
Welcome to a night of total terror. Night of the Living Dead.
Army of the Dead, or Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead. Also really long. A typical story of a group of people who make a plan to rob a casino in Las Vegas. The only catch is that the city is overrun by zombies and the government's about to nuke the crap out of it. Synopsis: Las Vegas has been evacuated and walled off because of all the zombies, but a wealthy casino owner hires a group of mercenaries to go into the quarantine zone and retrieve a boatload of money from the vault underneath that casino. I have not seen Snyder's remake of Dawn of the Dead, but if it's anything like this, then the people who call it his best work are probably right. Along with the release of Zack Snyder's Justice League, this is turning out to be a good year for him. And out of the two of them, I prefer this. It's a fun zombie action flick that keeps its tongue-in-cheek but still has a few decent emotional scenes, particularly between Dave Bautista's character and his daughter. This is a Zack Snyder movie through and through. He's been given artistic freedom. And the result is over 2.5 hours of his visual style, including the opening credits, which have a Watchmen-style montage of things falling apart set to a lounge cover of Viva Las Vegas, which is great visually and could honestly make a great short film on its own. The heist is pretty simple when compared to most heist films, but in the long run this isn't that kind of movie. It's more a movie about people fighting through zombies on a simple mission to get to the vault and back. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. It has a lot of action, zombie kills, gore, cool stuff, and the question of which of these people will make it to the end. It's much simpler than Ocean's 11, but much more dangerous. Although I guess with this heist there's no chance of pissing off Jason Statham. Compare this to the simple heist plan of HBO Max's snooze fest Lockdown. That was just an anticlimactic walking in and out with maybe a few obstacles that comes at the end of a boring movie. I'd much prefer this. One thing that's also notable is the fact that actor Chris D'Elia originally had a role in this movie but was taken out at the last minute after accusations of sexual misconduct were filed against him, and the people behind the movie decided they didn't want anything to do with him anymore. And so he was digitally replaced with Tig Notaro. I bring this up so that I can say that this was done very well and it's not noticeable. However, I'm not really sure how I felt about this movie's length. 2.5 hours is a bit long for a zombie movie, but unlike Zack Snyder's Justice League, I don't think there were many scenes that really needed to be cut out. Like, it takes time for the team to actually get into the city, but I understand they needed to set up the characters and plots. Another complaint is that sometimes the tone is a bit inconsistent, at times shifting from light and fun to dark and emotional in a way that's often less than graceful. On the opposite end, the scene where a newscaster quotes a government agent explaining that he wanted to nuke the city on the 4th of July because it would look cool seems too ridiculous even for the more humorous scenes. Zack Snyder is a pretty divisive figure in the industry, but this is one of his best ones. It may possibly be too long, but it fills that runtime with a lot of zombie action.